What is up, Flick Connection? This is Darren, usually here to help you get more out of movies, but today, here to give you a quick channel update, a thank you to my followers, a very special thank you, and an idea of what is to come with the future of Flick Connection. Now, so far in 2018, I've experienced a very rapid growth by most YouTube standards. My goal for 2018 was to hit 5,000 subscribers. I just passed 11,000 the other day, and it's not even May yet. So big thanks to all my subscribers. If you've clicked that button, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I like that you're enjoying the content, and I like to hear that you're getting a lot out of the channel and that you're enjoying your Netflix, Amazon Prime, you're enjoying those subscriptions better, and that I'm encouraging you to maybe watch some movies you otherwise wouldn't have watched. That is the point of this channel. I want you to enjoy movies that you have seen, maybe a little bit better by learning more about them, and I want you to enjoy movies that you might not have ever watched had it not been for my recommendations. Based on the comments, that's what it sounds like is happening, so I'm very, very thrilled with that. When I first started YouTube, I basically came from Instagram. I grew a decent-sized Instagram following, and the comments there were so overwhelmingly positive that it encouraged me to do a YouTube channel. Now, with YouTube, I was already fairly aware that the comments sections tend to be much more negative on YouTube. And while that is the case on YouTube, unfortunately, the comments are still overwhelmingly positive. There's some bad eggs in there, and you know what? Sometimes their comments are constructive, and other times they're just not. They're just hateful and mean, and that's fine. I'm very happy to say that the majority of the comments have been encouraging, so that's why I'm continuing to do this channel, because believe it or not, I really don't make good money doing this. When you factor in the amount of time, and especially when you factor in the equipment, which I want to tell you a little bit about, it's basically a hobby. It's just, I'm breaking even, you know, it's that type of a thing. So with that, I want to tell you a little bit about how I create videos. So this is really just for people that really follow me on a regular basis. I'll give you an idea of what goes into making one of these videos, how I started, and really what's getting ready to happen, because there's getting ready to be some big changes for Flick Connection. So when I started the channel, I literally just used this. Just used my iPhone. I have a little rinky-dink tripod, and I would mount that right in front of me. Sometimes I would experiment and have the screen facing me, but for the most part, I would just go blind. I'd do a test to make sure it looked right, and I would even just use the microphone on here, which I don't recommend. If you're thinking about doing anything on YouTube, don't do that. I did a handful of videos, just a few, with that, and they sound terrible. What I ultimately ended up getting was a decent microphone. I say decent, a very nice microphone, and then I would record separately, had that on a file, had the video on a file, sync them up in iMovie on the phone, and then just edit it from there. So I still, to this day, do all of my editing in iMovie on this iPhone. Now, I will gather clips, do research on a laptop. I'll ultimately bring everything into this because it's quick and easy. I can do it with my fingers, and I can do it anywhere. I can be sitting on the couch. I've got 2 kids, so if I get 15 minutes to myself, I can just fire up my phone and start editing right away. So it's really handy in that aspect. In the future, I don't think I'm going to be able to stick with that, but for now, that's working out really, really well. Even still, with over 10,000 subscribers, I feel like the content, the quality of the content is perfectly fine just being edited and exported straight from an iPhone. Now, this is what I'm looking at when you are watching me. I'm looking at a Canon camera with that microphone I mentioned before on top. And then this microphone is plugged into that, so it's closer to my mouth. I think it sounds a little bit better. It's got more of a podcast quality. And then I used to have some big lights with the big old umbrellas on them with fluorescent bulbs. And I've recently switched to these, which I don't know if you can see, are really thin. They've got a little battery, and it's just an LED panel, and I can adjust the warmth and the brightness, and I think those have worked out really well. Those are not expensive, but essentially what you can see is I am just sort of piecing things together one at a time. I started with this, got a better camera, got a mic, added some lights. I'm adding one thing at a time, and if you've been watching me for a while, you'll notice the background has changed. I first just started off with just a flat wall, and then I'd add a little bit of artwork, and then I moved the camera to this position, which I think is much better. And then I had some things on the wall here, and just one thing gets added at a time. So I didn't really worry about building out a whole set. I really just sort of went with what I had and built it. But now what we're doing, some of you that really follow me closely know the family is growing. We've lost another bedroom. So you may have noticed, there is a bed behind me, or there has been for about a month. That is coming in here. This is going to be a bedroom. And then we're going to go out here. I'm going to show you where we're getting ready to move. So this is about to turn into the new studio space. We're literally staining some barn doors to go here. We will be putting up some soundboards, so the sound quality should be a little bit better. We're going to still be sort of sitting at the bar, but we're going to have a nice setup so that I can eventually have some guests that will be able to sit with me, and the camera will be able to sit back further. So we'll have a little bit more of a legitimate set moving forward. Hopefully this will all be ready sometime in the next few weeks. So like I said, going forward, the plan is to have some guests. I've got 2 microphones, so we plan to have 2. I would love to do a podcast, a weekly podcast, sort of a podcast slash live YouTube show. If you would watch or listen to a podcast, let me know. The general gist of it would be to have a different guest every week, and we just talk movies. I want to do a real casual type thing. Maybe I'll bring up a couple of points to some things that are going on, some things that are coming out, but whatever that particular guest enjoys the most, that's what we're going to talk about. If they love John Carpenter movies, we're going to talk a lot about John Carpenter movies. If they love Martin Scorsese, we're going to talk about that. So that's really where I want to go, not just with Flick Connection in general, because I still want to give you the weekly Netflix recommendations, all of that. I never want to stop that. But I want to do more. I want to add another weekly show, add another one, maybe eventually go to a daily format, if not at least four days a week, maybe 5. So that's kind of where we're going with things, where each day would have a different type of format or setup. I'm really looking forward to that. That's a little bit further down the road. One problem I've had with a podcast is getting people to commit to coming on at a specific time every single week. So getting some regularity with it. For that, the channel has to grow. I've got to get more reach. I've got to be a little bit, people have to kind of want to be on this show a little bit more, and for that, they need the exposure. So the more the subscriber base builds and the more views I get per video, the closer I'm going to get to that goal. But that one's not necessarily a financially restricted one. We recently just picked up our first sponsor, so I'm very excited about that. Hopefully that continues to work out, and that has a lot to do with the growth, and you're responsible for that, so I appreciate it. I've also recently started a Patreon. It's brand new. I have no plans for it, in the sense that if you sign up, you're not going to get anything in return. The only reason to do it is to support and help this channel grow if you want to see more from it. Right now, I have one patron donating $1 a month. That's $12 a year, and it's a start. I really appreciate that particular patron. If you want to do that, great, but I cannot give you anything in return. Eventually, when I'm able to dedicate more resources to this channel, there will be benefits to becoming a patron, but those will all get announced as those come out. And when I say eventually, I mean because eventually this could be a full-time job. Right now, I'm in marketing. I've got a 9-to-5 job, which makes it very difficult to produce 3 videos a week. If I'm going to do more, I gotta have more time, and the channel has to grow in order for this to become a full-time gig, but that's something that could potentially happen in the future. There is a Flick Connection script in existence. I'll just say that for this video. I actually have a hard copy. I was going to bring it up and show it to you, but that'll be another video. That's even further down the road. So Years back, before I ever started doing YouTube, I wrote a screenplay for something I kind of planned to shoot and direct and do everything myself. I'm still very happy with it. I'm very happy with the story that I wrote. I'm very happy with what happens. The script itself needs more work. It needs to be rewritten, polished, dialogue needs work, all of that. But as far as the story structure, very, very happy with that. One plan I have in the closer future as the subscriber base grows is to share more details about that. I want to involve you, get input, share tidbits, and use this platform to help fund and one day, maybe in a few years, eventually produce the movie that I wrote years ago. So that's a whole side project, kind of unrelated to Flick Connection, but because you're somewhat involved with that and you would be responsible for the funding of that project, I really like the idea of sharing details on it as we go along. So if that's something that interests you, let me know. And on that note, if there's anything you want me to do, if there's topics you want me to explore, if there's movies you want me to explore and talk about, let me know in the comments below. Believe it or not, I still read every single comment. If I read it, I'll give you a like, and sometimes I'll favorite it. A lot of times I'll favorite it just so you know that I read it. If it's something to respond to or I'm in the mood, I will respond to it. I've kind of gotten to where I don't respond to negative comments. I did for a little while. I thought it was kind of funny, and the people that leave negative comments don't really get it. They're not really, they don't play back. They kind of just take it personally, and that's not what I want to do here. So I've kind of backed off of that. If it's a negative comment, I basically just ignore it. But saying that, because if you leave me a comment with a recommendation, I will read it. I will take it into consideration, and I want to produce the types of things that you want to watch. So with that, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for bearing with me. I know this was really just for my closest subscribers, so I will be curious to see who watches and comments on this particular video. If you want to learn more about how I create what I'm creating, let me know that in the comments too, because I can always create bonus videos in a week that sort of show you, kind of my process and what I'm doing. I'd be happy to do that kind of more in a vlog format. That was never really the intention for this channel, but if you're into it, I'll do it. I'll share what I need to share. I'll share what you want to know. But I will keep making these types of videos if you keep watching them. But thanks for watching this one, and you will see me next time.